Alright. We are here with Niv-Mizzet Parun. It's been a while since I played this one. Obviously, new cards have come out since then. However, what's really interesting, now that I have an evaluation of the point system, at least until they change it, is I can maybe make a deck, or the idea of this was to make a deck with a certain point threshold that puts me against weaker decks, but obviously your deck is weaker to compensate, so it's not like you're gimping yourself. You are playing against weaker strategies. The only downside is my personal MMR, like your win rate, how good you're doing, I guess has a point system to it as well. I have no idea where mine is. It's probably a little above average, because I play a lot. And I have a positive win rate, at least I'm pretty sure I do. So I could probably lose a lot up front until it maybe self-corrects. I have no idea how many points you gain or lose when you win or lose. If it was like 5 points and I'm at 900, then it could take eons to tank it, essentially. But who really knows? I'm not going to tank it off stream and then just like start at a poop one or whatever. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to send it. But with that being said, I have Counterspell and Mana Drain still in here. The highest point value, to my knowledge, is 45, and those are the two that I've got going on that are like really significant. I think too significant to not run. Maybe you could drop like Counterspell, but Mana Drain's ability is probably worth the 45 points. I don't have Lightning Bolt. Ragavan isn't in here for a multitude of reasons. One, its point is, it's the highest point value possible. Two, it usually creates non-games anyways. Like, if you play it turn 1 on the play, yeah, you'll win the game, but you didn't really get to play a game of Magic with your opponent. It's kind of like an oxymoron, really. It's ironic. You play it turn 1, you kill your opponent, so yeah, I won, but you didn't, like... you didn't get to play the game, right? Like, neither person really got to play the game. So taking it out is, it's kind of like a double whammy. It feels nice to not play it in a red deck, and the upside of also not playing it is 45 points. Just not worrying about that. So Niv-Mizzet, obviously, you draw a card every time you you deal 1 damage every time you draw a card, and when anyone casts a spell, not just you, you draw a card. Instants and sorceries. So it can run away with the game very quickly. The combo with Curiosity is when Curiosity's on Niv-Mizzet, it pings, it draws, it draws, it pings, it pings, it draws. So you just do infinite damage, or at least enough damage to kill your opponent. I don't think you can actually stop this. So if you deck out before you kill your opponent, you're kind of screwed. But I highly doubt that's ever going to happen. I have Humiliates, Bounce Effects. Cyclonic Rift is actually not 45 points, which is kind of surprising. It seems like the next breakpoint of point value is 36 from 45. So there's a few 36s in here. Like, instead of Memory Deluge, I have Quick Study. Right? One of these is not like the other. But hey, you know what? This one costs 1 less. It's the same amount of cards, just the selection's way worse. Leyline of Anticipation, I actually really like this card. Obviously, you kind of need to start with it in your hand, but you can maybe still find a place to cast it normally, and then it does happen before your commander if it wasn't in your starting hand, and flashing in Niv-Mizzet is completely insane. I had Cavern of Souls in here for a second because I was dumb. I forgot Niv-Mizzet is uncounterable, because also Cavern of Souls is worth 45 points, so you gotta be sure not to, run that if this is on your, commander's text box and you don't have a lot of creatures in your main deck. For lands, I don't have the Otawara or the red one. I can't remember the name of it. I don't have Castle either. It's just, to me, not worth it to run them, especially when they're worth 45 points anyways. I just really... I'm not going to ever really animate Hall of the Storm Giant. It's such a rare occurrence, and it's just not worth the points. Just run a land. Most games, it just wouldn't matter anyways. Really, it's not a big deal to not run them, in my opinion, so this is just a way to pull it off. As for Told seems pretty good. I really like this card more than I used to. I think it's pretty solid. Just it takes a while to start going crazy, but really even just 1s and 2s are pretty solid with it, and then later on it gets to 3 and you're fine. I don't have a lot more going on than 3 though, so maybe it's not as exciting, or maybe that makes it more exciting because it's turned on faster, right, for my whole deck. So I don't know, but yeah. So the whole goal is to lower the point value of the deck and see what we are pitted against with that logic in mind. Let's roll. That's pretty neat. It's 5 color though, so we got the whole universe to worry about. I kind of like don't want to get a red, but this is triple red. I really don't have a choice. I mean, I have the relic too, and probably more than enough blue anyways. My opponent gets to run 10 fetch lands, and I guess 10 scry lands too. It could be a lot of tap lands with that, which could be rough. My opponent actually bins a very strong card. Alright. I wonder what they normally give indestructible. I really don't know. I kind of want to play this, but I also want to leave up my mana. I think it's better to leave my mana up. I think it's just better. Like, drawing cards is fine. I still need a second land, or just an additional mana source, even if I did play this. But I don't like this as my only thing to do. Unless I pack the negation, which seems kind of crazy to me. Rafine is an incredibly good card. I have no answer to it. Well, that's pretty bad. This is a very, very good card. It also is very good with a commander that is making it indestructible. It's also very good. I guess I'll play this and then let my opponent just kind of go crazy for a turn. This lets me leave up Swan Song and Pact at the same time when I cast my commander, and that is extremely powerful. With Niv-Mizzet drawing a card each time something's cast. They could just get rid of a land, right? And this is blockable, but who knows? It's not really a big deal either way. My opponent just gets rid of Pock. Wow. I was doing some weird stuff over there. Doing some real weird stuff. Sure. Probably leave up your commander. It does have flash, right? Yeah. It's not really a scary card, but I guess it does swing as an 8/8. It's pretty easy to get all your colors. Maybe that is a bit of a problem. Well, no matter how this pans out, I'm always casting this. And just saying good luck to you. I might even just pack the negation this. I think I'm actually going to pack the negation this. Just so they can't do nothing and then just keep making this an 8/8 attacker. I think that's worth it. Oh, nice. Oh, we love to see it. We love to see that. Oh, I drew a fiery impulse too? What's the ward on this? 1? Ah, I can't kill it with a block. I can block it for free anyways, though. It's... I mean... Oh, they discarded a land! They discarded a land! Oh, no, opponent. Ooh. Yeah, that's probably not the best thing to do there. That's pretty rough. I think it's probably better to cast this than anything. I know I could have killed the 2/2 at this point. Nah, I'm not even concerned with the 2/2. I'm just gonna... Yeah, I don't want those cards. Okay. Does my opponent block, I wonder? Probably, right? No, they don't. They don't even think about it. Alright, well, I mean, I can still kill this whenever I want. Or just not care about it. I don't know. They shocked themselves, so this is 8 mana? What do you shock yourself at 8 for? What does that mean? Farewell? I mean, okay, let's find out. I'll cycle the Fiery Impulse, probably. Okay. So it's just a -2 on that. I can simply recast Niv-Mizzet, though. So I guess it's not the end of the world. It's not like the worst thing that happened. Still kind of rough, though. Opponent just hard cast that with no land. They could have turned it into 2 forests if they wanted. That's very strange. Let me just... Whenever you draw, 1 damage. Whenever you cast. So this will kill the Liliana. Shield's down, though. That's another answer. It's a clean trade, though. No, they don't take a clean trade. Wow. Murderous Cut? What is this? K command. And Lightning Bolt. Okay. Do I ping the Chandra a bunch, or do I try to kill my opponent? I feel like pinging the Chandra is worth it, so it can't, like, do things after trying to kill my Niv-Mizzet, I guess. I don't know. I can recast Niv-Mizzet. This also lines it up so it dies to burn down the house. Yeah, that obviously makes a lot of sense as well. I think it is worth it to cast that. So I will. And then leave up a bunch of counter spells. Can I play this? 1, 2, 3. No, we'll just leave up counter spells. I have no maximum hand because of the choice of fortunes. Alright, yeah. We just started to gain a lot of footing as that game panned out. But they did a pretty good job at trying to keep us off the board. I don't have a red source to kill, like, the turn 1 I win the game spell, but I like my mana situation. Probably wise to look for... Okay. Yeah, we'll lead with this. So I don't, you know, immediately lose the game. Okay, they don't have it. There's no merit in shocking myself. I don't think I'm interested in casting Opt. There's no rush, really. My commander could be a rough prospect, though. Just to, like, have exist and do anything meaningful. Of course, my opponent's mana is in the form of that. I guess this one is better at what I'm trying to do right now. The other one requires, like, a bunch of mana to sort of do something. I have no answer to this, but I can turn it off later. As in, like, right now. So play this, and hope it's good enough. No casualties of war this turn, though I don't imagine that's what's in their deck. I like my whole hand, but such is the right thing to probably always loot. Okay, so casting this with shields down seems absolutely insane. I don't know what I could find off this that I would cast immediately, so I'm just going to pass. Kind of wish I had more to do, though. My opponent just hung their entire turn, though, so that seems completely favorable for me. This is an excellent spot for me. I think this draw-go thing is way better for me than my opponent. They actually had casualties of war. That's insane. You actually had it. Wow. Probably should have Arcane Infusion first in case I found a counterspell, so my opponent doesn't know like what I Arcane Infusion for. Okay, so I can get some value if I immediately cast this. I can also just pass the turn again, because I don't have a ton going for a Niv-Mizzet that just lives for a single turn cycle. Doesn't feel too ideal, even with a spell of my own. I do not care about that at all. Knock yourself out. My opponent actually had Casualties of War in their deck, and it was in their hand. That's really funny. They actually had it. Seems like shutting down their commander is really, really good here. They also did not, unless they did, I didn't look. I don't think they targeted the enchantment that was right here. They might have, but I might not have just seen it. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't see it. Oh, we have interaction. Wow, look at that. I'm almost at the point where I want to opt anyways, but I probably still won't. This counters and I draw 1 instead of 3, sure. Do I kill that with shock right now? Probably not. Nah, just pass. Okay, I like my whole hand. Still probably always right to loot. Okay. So now I cast it with 2 spells up and let my opponent make the first move on it, so then they kind of maybe get tripped up. And it can change how I ping stuff or whatnot. Okay, I would love to counter that, but I... Oh, I found it. Get wrecked. I found the counter spell right off the top. Wow. Well, I found a temporary reprieve from the card. I didn't actually answer it. You also have a removal spell? Come on. How do you have everything? No. Don't do this to me. No way. Alright, good. Good. No answer to that, though, is a problem that I must resolve. Or just win by top decking Curiosity. That would also work. Cyclonic Rift could potentially solve whatever this does, but it could also maybe not. If they take a bunch of extra... Oh, sweet, okay. My opponent probably should have at least tried to cast it here, I think. I think it would have made sense to just try, but they didn't. I'm going to play Mountain, make them think. Maybe I have a burn spell. No dice. Sure. Hopefully I don't have to memory lapse this turn. I'd like to go get a tapped land. Sure. So let's get Thundering Falls. I like Seek New Knowledge. Do I like it more than another card? Yes. Alright. I'm going to play this because we know we're going to Witness Protect something. And I'm not going to counter their commander. I wonder if they respect Wash Away, though. Playing a naked commander with a landfall trigger is kind of rough. This is an elemental, right? Yeah. I think that's more happenstance than them playing actual elementals. Okay, they just full stop don't have a land. Alright, they said good game. Are we scooping? Nope, we're not scooping. Alright, we just said that for no reason. So I can shut this off, so now they can't find a land on top. Now do we scoop? Nope. Alright. One of those people that say good game, but they don't actually concede. Let's get rid of this banditry. Oh, no, they did it. They finally did it. Alright. They probably realized in a second they are not drawing a land, and they're not going to see the next card, because this has no text on it. Without needing to, like, protect it, I mean. Okay. I think every single game we've played so far, there's been a 2-mana ramp spell. Like, literally every single one. I should lead with this, but I'm going to lead with this one, I think. It doesn't have haste like this one does. Okay, they didn't just snap off their commander, which is pretty nice for us. We can cast this. Then I can cast the Arcane Signet. But I think I'm going to leave up Tail's End. Shalai is interesting. I can't say I'm too afraid of that. Whenever it attacks... Okay. Sure. That's interesting. Guess I won't allow them to make a bunch of stuff that I don't want to deal with. I don't know. That's neat. Change the equation. I'm looking for a land. That's not a land. It's a good card, but really would like a land. Okay, and got nothing else to do. Can leave up 2 counter spells, technically. Can't say I'm too scared of their commander, like, in any way. So it would be nice to leave up change on the same turn I cast my commander. 1, 2, 3. I do need to draw a land. Do I need more red mana? Not really. I do technically have triple red, and this could be just way more useful. I think I have to go for this. I know it's like not a red source, but I already have triple red, and... Okay, this lets me leave up change the equation, which is what I want it to do. Mithril Coat. Okay, I actually don't care about that until whatever it is they cast that is too big to block. Doubling Season. This puts counters on your stuff. I will counter this. I will counter it. I don't ping face because they have hexproof, but that's fine. I obviously don't want them to make this super large super quickly and then they can just swing all day. Now, they could have just activated this twice and had kind of the same result, honestly. But they didn't. I'm going to take 3 here, because it could be some weird spell in their hand, and it kind of looks like there is a weird spell in my opponent's hand. I really do not want to just burn this, this Villain's Lair, but it just doesn't do anything. The fact that they have hexproof and this is unkillable means I can never get value from Niv-Mizzet pings, and that is horribly, horribly bad for us. It's just unbelievably bad. Like, yeah, that's just a double compounding issue here. But, I don't know. I think maybe with the 5/5 sitting there, I'm maybe in charge with all of my spells drawing cards. I almost don't want to counter this, but it's my opponent's whole turn, and I think that's just fine. Kind of wish I had Essence Scatter. I really wanted to leave up a counter spell for what I assume is some kind of combat trick. There's definitely a combat trick in here. There has to be. There just has to be what's going on. I'm so convinced of it. Confounding Conundrum. Not the best draw. Let's see what happens when I do this. River's Rebuke. Much better draw. But again, I can't target them, so not quite. These are alright. Hell to Pay, not necessarily. I think I'll keep these. I can swing for 5, but now that I have protection from the thing they have, I think I'm not going to. Like the combat trick, I can counter it, and Essence Scatter at the same time. They should swing pre-combat, because they'll tap out if they cast their commander first. And they won't be able to use whatever fancy thing they've got going on there. Maybe they just got 6 free damage. Who knows? I certainly don't. I certainly do not know. But they can activate it once, and that doesn't change anything. This puts a counter here, but then that's all it does. Still going to counter it, though. I don't want to deal with that. Maybe it was wrong to counter this. I could just sort of kill it as things stood. They did, excuse me, tap their only blocker, so maybe it made sense to actually do that and just let it resolve, and it looks like that might be the case. What did they do? They fight? Yeah, so I guess I was wrong to do what I did. This does get rid of Niv-Mizzet, but I can simply recast it at this point, so it's probably panned out in my favor. Another card that doesn't really do anything, because indestructible and face hexproof. This is just the worst case scenario, really. Can't target them with this, because they have hexproof. Could just recast it. I don't see how I don't simply just recast this. My opponent has no cards in their hand. Can I just swing for 2? This is toxic. It will kill them in 10 attacks. I am dead in 2 attacks, though. I think I know my opponent's entire next turn. It's probably fine to just swing here. Makes sense to me. I'll leave up Essence Scatter. But yeah, they can pump this twice and I'm dead, so I can't, like, block it twice. Yeah, I just have no answer to this. At all. The fact that I can't target their face and I can't kill this with damage is probably just too much. I need Cyclonic Rift, and I need it, like, right now. Okay. They chose to do this, which buys me a turn, because now they can't swing with Shalai. I probably would have just double swung with Shalai. This seemed a little too unnecessary, in my humble onions. Alright, well, we're looking for specific cards. Let's see if we find them. Not necessarily. Guess this is free to just draw. I think I play this as my land. I could try to look for a land here. Almost the same, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Nope. I always want to hit my land drop. I don't need As Foretold. This is another blocker, which could maybe buy me a turn or something like that. They're not gonna swing, so I guess I'm passing. There's some cards like that get around indestructible in my deck as well. I obviously don't have them. Did I use this already? Yeah. Guess I'm mana draining? Or like I have another choice. Could have Jawari disruptioned if I didn't get rid of it. Suppose it makes sense to simply cycle this card at this point, because there's nothing really to do with it other than that. Okay, I found an answer. I found an answer. I kind of forgot these were an actual out. I didn't anticipate that. It wasn't on my mental radar there. But this certainly does work. Okay, so now we're in a good spot. Now we're sitting pretty. Is it still indestructible? It is not. They'll have to re-equip this. It loses all abilities, and then when you go to... It checks all the other stuff on it, like it had indestructible before, but if they remove the equipment and put it back on, it will gain indestructible. This costs 1 less, so I can do it for... Okay, my punch is done. Yeah, this was the only thing they had anyways. It wasn't... It probably, at this point, the game was over. Okay, well, eventually we'll play against somebody who doesn't have a 2-mana ramp spell. We actually haven't seen, like, any 1-mana ramp spells. This is, obviously can have one, but... Everyone's had a 2-mana one. Looks like they have the 1-mana one, of course. And I'm on the... Yep, so... Well, I'm losing horribly. Such is tradition. Immediately. Alright, well... This game is probably completely over. Do I play this? Yeah. Get rid of Essence Scatter at this point. It's kind of just dead. I have the combo. 1, 2. I need a land and a way to cast a spell within the same turn cycle. Burn Down the House is also extremely useful right now. It's actually very useful. Well, it doesn't kill Kiora is the main issue. I don't know. They don't have white mana. They'll have to find it. I'm sure that finds it. Oh yeah, this deck can run all 10 fetch lands. My opponent is not interested in casting it. I am extremely confused. I am very confused. I'm convinced I should just tutor for either a cantrip so I can combo immediately or a counter spell. And the fact that my opponent did nothing at all makes me want to find a counter spell here. And Mana Drain being a really good counter spell given my soon to combo situation I've got going on here. I'm not convinced to shock myself to guarantee a Mana Drain through a count, like blowing one of these up. I think it's fine to just not do that. They could have cast Atraxa. Like, full stop could have casted it. They could have just done anything. The fact that they did nothing at all is very strange. Probably removal from my commander, but you can't hang that much mana that many turns. I'll start to pull ahead. So if I counter this, I get 4. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think I can... I mean, I'm always countering this anyways. I'm always just countering it anyways. It doesn't matter. But... So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 6... I think that does it. Okay, that does it, right? See, the problem is if they have a spell... Okay. I don't necessarily have to go with for it. It can only be a white removal spell. Wow. Alright. It looks like they were leaving up counter magic, but I don't know why. This is uncounterable. Maybe they didn't realize, so they just read it. Ooh, this is the 7 mana free spell thing, but it's not a combo version, because it's in the command zone. I've never actually played Sarkhan yet. That's pretty neat. I kind of like this hand. The wash away is obviously extremely devastating when you're trying to play a 7 mana thing out of the thing there. It could also just be a normal aggro deck, and that's just there. Seen that plenty of times. For it is I who has the mana rock this time. I will do red because maybe I play Sarkhan instead of one of these next turn. Probably unlikely though. A little bit less unlikely. I can loot away something like one of these. I kind of like doing that. I also don't care if this dies, actually. Looks like it will. Oh, sure. Oh, wait, no, that doesn't kill it. Doesn't kill it. Look at that. Let's get rid of this one. I think the graveyard's less relevant. I did also need to draw land, so that actually worked out. It was kind of like playing this anyways, right? Alright, so I can cast Niv-Mizzet and put them on... Wait, this is red, so... Like that. I can cast this, put Curiosity on it, and the only way they can ever stop this is with something that is not an instant or sorcery. I'll get Steam Vents. Alright, force them to have it. You must have something that is not an instant or a sorcery. We did it. We won. Sweet. Look at that. Alright, yeah. I don't know if they knew that's how that worked, or they just wanted to see how it worked, but yeah, look at that. We did it. Okay, so this was really good. It's also really fun. I'm pretty confident that the place... Why is my camera freaking out? Oh, the lighting's flickering. Maybe it was doing that the whole time. Anyways, I like the point system once I know about it. I feel more in control, right? I can kind of balance my deck and make it weaker, so I'm playing against weaker things. But again, that does mean your deck is also weaker, right? This is kind of a funny situation where, like, the powerful alternatives to certain cards aren't the end-all be-all. Like, you can have a really stacked deck. Let's say the 10 cards that I took out to make my deck weaker would make my deck stronger in the games I drew them, but any game where I didn't have them, I'm pitted against more powerful decks, and on average, in my opinion, it's probably better to not run the super powerful cards unless they're extremely definitive to the strategy. I think Mana Drain and Counterspell are pretty crucial for like a Niv-Mizzet style deck, or at least this kind of Niv-Mizzet deck. So I think they should never come out, but taking out all the other 45 point cards and all, or a fair amount of the 36 point cards, left me with a stronger deck because I get less weaker than my opponents do, like strength wise, right? Like they get weaker, my opponents' decks that I'm pitted against, but I get weaker, but it's less than they do. So I wind up kind of in a more favorable situation, in my opinion. And it felt that way. I was playing against a lot of interesting commanders that I don't normally see. So I guess we were in the paradise queue where everyone's gets to play Magic. Another cool thing about this is you can play longer games. It's not over turn 3, right? It's not like someone played Rusco on 3 and then like wash away and the game was like you can actually kind of have a game that lasts a little bit longer. So if that's what you're into, then a weaker commanders always play like slower games usually, and that just makes for more fun Magic to me instead of all the games being defined, being considered over by turn 5. It's like, all right, we kind of figure out, it's like a game of chess. You're looking at it, it's like, all right, well, White's probably going to win in 5 turns in because one person got hosed in the beginning in the opener. They blundered the opener, so it was over, right? This is no exception. The deck as is was also just pretty solid. Niv-Mizzet is only really going to get stronger. I know everything gets stronger, but like the more 1s and 2s that are extremely powerful with this commander, the better. I would say I was not super impressed with As Foretold, which is unfortunate though. I don't know. Maybe this isn't the deck for it. Every time you have it resolve, it feels awesome, but it does take a second to start up. It does. It's a sorcery speed spell. It's a bit rough, but Leyline of Anticipation, however, did do stuff the one game I played it. However, my opponent blew it up. They like actually went out of their way to destroy this, which meant I guess it's a threatening card to somebody. So maybe there's some logic there. But I think As Foretold could come out. I also think it was a higher pointed card anyways, so you can just weaken the deck's point value and really replace it with a more... Divination is probably better, actually. Divination would have just been better, and that points is 0, right? Point value is 0. I would not run Rhystic Study, just because I'm pretty sure it's 45. I just don't want to put that in this deck. But if that was a 36, As Foretold, you could put in, and you would only be going up, what, 9 points? Right? So maybe 9 points doesn't make or break anything here, but also maybe it does. Who knows? But as it stood in this literal iteration, it was pitted against things that led to more interesting and fun games, and I didn't just completely destroy all of my opponents because of this either. It was back and forth. I was playing Magic the Gathering. I did not have a 80% win rate or something. I think it was like 66. I think we lost about a third of our games. Honestly, we could have won 2 of them too. I just kind of blundered really bad with the Grenzo opponent. Oh, it sucks too. It was a long game. I just blundered it at the end. But yeah, I would recommend this. Niv-Mizzet had some pretty interesting new tools lately, which I really like. Mana Drain's colorless mana does not help here, unfortunately, but it does give you more options in a turn where you could go for Curiosity, because you just have like colorless mana that could push you over the edge. Mostly in this instance, actually really just add 1 mana to your mana pool for you to cast any additional spell in the same turn that's not a 1-drop. You can Hell to pay for 0. That would also do it with Curiosity. You don't actually need to do for X anything more than 0. The mana base felt kind of fine, like a bunch of basics with a triple red, triple blue commander. Felt perfectly fine, right? It just got easier to cast this with all the fetch lands. It just got way easier. It got so much easier. You could maybe even get rid of... Well, I wasn't running Cavernous Souls. We're not a dragon deck, right? Again, you shouldn't be running it anyways. This is uncounterable. So yeah, I think the mana base was probably just fine. Maybe there's 1 or 2 lands I could have ran. Like drop one of these for a Terramorphic Expanse, just so I have a little bit more consistent triple red, triple blue. But with all the mana rocks, that just like Nicol Bolas, which is like 3 black, 1 red, 1 blue. All these mana rocks, it's pretty easy to just not worry about that. I wasn't even running Mind Stone or Guardian Idol, because they're only colorless, and I don't really feel like I needed colorless mana. If anything, I kind of want it more like Frogifies. I think more Humiliates, just like the last Humiliate deck I was playing. Humiliating your opponent's commander is just really strong, and there's not a lot of like Planeswalker commanders really, and the ones that do exist kind of get schmeeded when they're just sitting there alone, and you're not doing a good job at defending them or anything. Chandra is not in here, the 4-mana Chandra, because it is 45 points. That's why it was not in here. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna put in for As Foretold, but I like this. I like this iteration of it, and you could make the argument it might be the strongest one I've ever played, just because the bracket I was in let me play against slightly weaker decks, and again, I wasn't falling back in weakness relative to them. Obviously, Brainstorm is a really good card, but I didn't necessarily feel too bad about not playing it. I think that's something to genuinely consider, right? Every game where you don't have the 45-point cards, you're just playing the same deck, but stronger opponents, right? You're going to bump into more games that don't exist because they played Ragavan. And it's like, oh, great. You know, you could drop a couple 36 pointers in this, add Ragavan anyways, the point value would be the same, and you would now have Ragavan scam wins in your deck in playing against kind of the same relative power level, as long as you keep the point value of your deck low. It doesn't matter. You could run Ragavan. Again, you will have non-games, and you'll win, maybe, some of them. Sometimes you won't. I don't know. Ragavan's dumb. Yep, that's it. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this approach at making decks. And see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.